All right, so let's get to our interview of the evening. We've been having a crazy fucking night so far.
Before we give Tim Hortons any money.
I know, eh?
Trust me, they don't deserve it.
Why not Tim
Check
Hortons?
Timmy's.
And I think I'm gonna fucking really call the episode what do you call it again?
Yeah, do that.
Exorcist or whatever.
We'll call
But we got a man of many trades. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't want to just say entertainer. You know what I mean? But
you can say that.
All around a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man that could act, comedy.
Fight with a naked man even stem from?
This dog wants to fuck with me. So what? Hold my watch. Hold my watch, dog. Okay. Go. All right. So jack it off. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You must have some bars in the tuck somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got a 16.
I got a couple tracks.
Yeah.
Got a couple
You have a couple of tracks.
Yeah, I have Bada. I have Girls Love Instagram.
Girls love when you like all they pictures. They pose just like other bitches. And then they tell you I'm different. Taz angels gotta be strippers. No pussy for no broke niggas.
I have Wasteman. Shout out to Femi. Shout out to Slinky. And yeah.
Okay.
So you keep a 16 in the tuck every once in a while.
I mean, I can borrow some mad stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like if I want to rap, you know, but that's not. I don't want to check in.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that when I go to cities. I like going to the city.
Yeah.
Enjoying it, not checking in.
You're not trying to go on a Test My Gangster campaign.
Nope.
But
like
besides that, you're also like doing podcasting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking one of the hottest podcasts in the city. You know what I'm saying?
Thank
We
you.
started roughly around the same time, and like you guys started pulling in like a heavy female audience,
Yes.
and like a dedicated work audience, right? So the voice that you hear, with no further ado, we have Marlon Palmer, aka the Oxtail God, aka that dude McFly in the building. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you for having me, man.
First question I want to know: what's your favorite? What's up with the Oxtail, dog? And what's the best place to get Oxtail?
Oxtail, fam. It's Oxtail. Like right now, my favorite. I can never pin it down to just one. If I had to choose three, it's Albert's on Vaughan.
Whoa.
Vaughan Oakwood. Well, no, like Vaughan St. Clair or Oakwood and St. Clair. And Pat's, Queen Bathurst.
Okay.
Always a vibe. And Rasta Pasta right now is hitting different. I don't know what type of sauce they're putting in the coleslaw, but I rate it.
Okay. So you're really from the Oxtail God.
Yeah, they got the Italian on one side, the Jamaican on the next.
side.
Really, eh?
That's a smart.
It's a vibe. It's in Kensington.
Okay, so in the comments, people are not going to be like, yo, what the fuck's this
Every
guy
man's
talking
gonna
about?
talk about their own oxtail place that's at the corner of whatever that's near their house. So a lot of people's favorite oxtail in the city, I'm beginning to realize, is whatever's closest to their house, as long as it's not Sunrise.
So how did you become the Oxtail God? Why are you the Oxtail God?
Well, people just associate me with it. I also have a song called Me, Oxtail, and You.
This fool got me feeling right. I'm about to lose my mind. You, me, and Oxtail be.
It's a love song to Oxtail. Just so you know, show I'm real in the field. I'm about this life. I'm ready to go forever.
Love song to Oxtail.
I found the one. You know when you find your food and you're just like, this is it. Like, I'm going to eat this as much as possible.
You're dedicated to that Oxtail life.
Dedicated. Can't turn back.
Tell us about Life of Fly.
Life of Fly. Wow, that's old vlogs I used to do. I used to do vlog shit on my YouTube channel. But I stopped because I just don't like that. I don't like vlogging everything or capturing every moment. I kind of like some things for myself.
Yeah.
Private time.
I'm old, so maybe that's why.
But
old. I'm not. I just don't. And it's annoying. Like, you're just in the moment and you just don't want to take out a camera. It takes up away everyone else's energy.
Yeah.
All that. And people get weird on camera. You ever notice that? People are so normal, you're talking to them, and then the camera turns on and they turn into a completely different person.
They start getting into acting mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird, so.
What came first? Because I know you as like a very popular YouTuber, right? my, I guess, introduction was through the Extra Gravy podcast.
Yeah.
But through there, you talk about being a YouTuber, and then I started to get more information and start seeing like you were popping on YouTube.
Yeah.
So what started first? Like, was it the YouTubing? Was it the acting? Like, what was the first?
Well, what started, because I wasn't really doing anything media-wise. I think I had one video on my YouTube channel. It was like me doing the Lil B cooking dance. But in terms of like media, I wasn't doing anything. And then Much Music was doing a VJ search.
Okay.
In 2009, and they opened it up to online voting. And at that time, I was like really heavy on Facebook. I had made a lot of big groups, and I was getting a lot of people like sending me friend requests every day on there. So like my network was growing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my boy, he actually entered it and then told me about it and like basically just talked me into doing it.
Okay.
We ended up in the top 16, and then from there we kept going until I was in the finale basically, and I came in second to Liz Trinier, the girl that's on Much Music now.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, that kind of started off my internet fame, I guess you could say, because my Twitter shot up when I was on Much Music. I had a lot of people hitting me up afterwards telling me, oh, you should have won, and all that stuff. And people just want to see what I was going to do next. And I had no idea what I was going to do next. I had decided like to go back to college. I moved back in with my mom. Went to college for like a semester. And when I was there, I was doing pre-media fundamentals. I was like taking this, it was like teaching you about cameras and different things like, things like that.
Yeah.
And we could rent out the camera like over the weekend. So I took it out like Thursday so I could bring it back on Monday because you rent it out for 2 days. And these girls online were doing a makeup challenge for their followers.
Right.
And me and my boy were trying to get these girls' attention for time. These girls live in LA, fire, these two twins.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And we're trying to get their attention, but like they had so many followers, they weren't seeing the tweets or something. Right. So we're like, yo, if we do this video, we're gonna be the only mans that do this video.
Yeah.
Like, cause all their followers are mostly women, right? They're doing makeup stuff, and we did the video. They saw it. They commented on it. They were the first people to comment on it. And then back then, YouTube, the way it worked, when you commented on somebody's page, if you had a lot of followers, all your subscribers would see where you commented, what video, and they would probably be like, "Oh, my favorite likes this video. Let me go see what this video is." And then like that's the way everyone used to grow so organically on YouTube. It's lost now. Like you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore at all.
Wow. And so a flood of her followers came over and subscribed to me, and they wanted to see more content on top of the people from the VJ search. So they just started making videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, what year is that like on YouTube?
2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's still very young YouTube. Like, wow, that's crazy.
So that's when you did
YouTube
the
was like
Jamaican
around
parents?
like 4 or 5 years old around that time.
Yeah.
That's when you did Jamaican Parents?
Ping it till you can't ping no more.
You damn degga music out downstairs. Turn it off.
Curl them sweat holes.
No, I love you.
Yeah, 2011 or 2012 is where I did Shit Jamaican People Say.
Oh yeah, Jamaican
and
People
Shit
Say.
Toronto People Say. And those kind of, when Drake tweeted it, and yeah, everything just took off from there.
Yeah. Like,
You did work with for your entertainment too, right? Those
Yeah, I worked at For Y'all Entertainment. At first, they thought I hated them. There was a beef. But they had done a Shit Jamaican People Say video before me. And a lot of people were showing it to me, and I just thought that there could be more done in the video. So I called my boy up, and we did our own version of it.
right.
And everybody assumed that there was beef between us. But like at the time, I thought they were American.
Okay.
And when I heard they were from Brampton, I was like, let's work. Like, let's get together and make some videos. And actually, the first video we ever did was playing on that beef. Like, it was For Y'all Entertainment versus McFly. So, yeah, we've done a number of videos since then. Most notably, the last couple of videos, the Toronto Goon Scraps, that, like, took
Tycho.
off.
Those are big. Yeah.
Or was it Tycho? Tycho Thumpard?
Yeah. Shout out to For Y'all, man.
Yeah.
So like, even with the skits, what inspired you to start getting into just making skits? Because not everybody like wakes up and says, like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking put together a funny ass skit." You know
Well,
what
I
mean?
always wanted to act. I knew I wanted to act when I was like really, really young. And it was mostly just watching Fresh Prince episodes. Like Will was my icon, still is.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like parts of like that show seeped into my DNA, because a lot of people would tell me like, yo, you act like him all the time. About I'm like, yo, I'm really not at all trying. If it happens, it's completely by accident. And that's how much I watched the show and like lived and breathed it. So I always wanted to act, and I didn't know how to get into that kind of stuff. Around the time when I did the YouTube channel, I was actually a background actor. I was on like Flashpoint and some other like Canadian shows, but just like as a background person running. Like we did Incredible Hulk when they did on Yonge Street. I was just one of those people running, you know what I mean? So I was trying to get my foot into it, but I just didn't know how to go about it. And I realized that YouTube, I didn't have to wait for anything. If I wanted to do it, I could just do it myself. And I love the learning process, just learning about a camera, like, and how it works and the best way to utilize it. Like, I loved watching those things and just learning and soaking in that information. So around 2014 maybe is when I was working as a dishwasher at a restaurant, and I was on lunch break. Some people would come up to me to take pictures, and I'm in my dishwashing uniform and everything. I'm just gonna go get food, right? And I'm taking pictures, and I'm like, I go back to work, and I'm like, yo, that's so fucking weird. Like, people are taking pictures of me, and I'm
dishwashing right now.
I'm like, this is fucked. I'm like, I took off the uniform and I left. I just made a video like every single day for like a month until I made my rent, and I'm like, yo, I can do this. Okay. And then from there, I just kept going, kept doing it.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. You even had like a merchandise at one point, the Mandem.
Yes.
What was going on with the Mandem wave?
Well, like my highest selling one is probably the Make Oxtail Cheap Again.
The hat?
Yeah, the hat. That hat took off. Like, it went viral, and so many people keep posting it on their Instagram, but they have no idea that it's an actual hat. I think they think it's just like a meme. Yeah. So it's just so funny to see.
So it's only one hat?
Or just one hat, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And I did the Mandem one was probably the first one to take off. And I did like the Friends logo. And I'm not going to say, hey, I saw a lot of Maddens, I'm doing that after, man. It's whatever. But yeah, like it was, that probably took off first for me. And I just really liked, I've never seen clothes with like some Toronto slang that was current. That, you know what I mean? And like, I just wanted to do that. Like right now, we just made like a Nike imitation, Just Nice It. So it's like we're about to go start selling those and see how those do. So it's like I just like incorporating Toronto into like anything that I do.
That's
you know what? One thing also
that's a very good one.
Yeah,
Just Nice It.
What it brings me also is like, when did you start noticing that Toronto slang and all that type of stuff, it was actually starting to become cool? Because remember, there was a point in time where like we were kind of just doing what the States was doing. Yeah. And we weren't like proud, like we didn't have our own skits of where we're laughing at our own like accents and everything. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, like after we did the video, when we were doing the videos, kind of when I realized how much of a DNA Toronto had.
On a big mountain, if you show any man this, fam,
I don't care. Like,
your does not bless.
I don't do
your does not bless.
Nah,
you didn't see a new source.
Nah, fam.
You're wildin', bro.
It's like on its own, right? Like, because before that video, I never really had a reason other than Cardinal with Bacardi slang. I never had anything where it was like all in one place where I could say, okay, this is what Toronto is about. This is what Toronto is, right? Bacardi slang did that, but as a moment in time, right? Yeah. And then when we were doing the video and we were finished and we were like looking it over, like, yo, Toronto's like its own fucking world. Cause like those videos were inspired by everybody else doing those videos. Shit LA people say, shit New Yorkers say, shit girls say, shit black people say. Like it was all those videos, right? Yeah. And so when I noticed that the entire video, we weren't anybody else but people I know in Toronto. I was like, we have a DNA. Like, this is really dope.
Yeah, because like I'm watching skits that you have with like man like Bilal, the Don Dawson, a man like Joseph, Treasure, and like 1-800 Waste Man.
Need a man to cook for you after a long day at work? Not me.
We've got thousands of wastemans waiting to ruin your life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that shit is funny as fuck, right? And if you're from somewhere else, you catch on and you get it because it's funny. It's just the funny's there. But if you're from here, you're like,
you're like.
See, and that's what I always wanted. I wanted it to be funny elsewhere, but if you're from here, you know
get it.
what it is.
You really
like,
get
what
it.
it is.
Yeah, man. Like that. You gotta understand. Like a lot of people don't.
The ball player.
Mm-hmm. That's a gold mine of like realizing that us as fucking a city is. You know, we can entertain ourselves and fucking even monetize. I always tell people,
Toronto doesn't need nobody else. Like, if we shut out American anything, the only thing we probably have to work on is TV.
Yeah.
That'd probably be the only thing.
Yeah.
And like that's
not even that far behind, really.
It's not that far behind. They could do a lot better, but like, yeah, they just need to do a lot better with representation because I don't know any Black Canadian shows. They gave us The Kink in My Hair, which is probably the lowest budgeted Canadian show I've ever seen.
That show is...
And that show was still lit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
a big
still
show.
fire. And they still canceled it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
like,
a capsule in time, boy.
Facts.
Show me a Canadian, other than the slave one that was out with Lyric Bent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that I can't remember what it was called, but I heard that one was really good. But they've never had just a regular Black show. And that's one of my goals when I get to a certain level is I want to create comedic, like Mad TV, not Mad TV, but like a Dave Chappelle type of West Indian and African centered comedy.
So like a sketch comedy show.
Yeah, sketch comedy show. Because I've never seen those cultures have their own show.
The closest thing you get to something like that is in Living Color, where they're like, "Yeah, man."
Well, you had shows back in the day. There was a show called The Real McCoy in Britain. You can see the episodes on YouTube right now. It's called The Real McCoy, and that was like the only Jamaican show, sketch comedy show that I've ever seen. Yeah, and it was amazing. Like, it's still funny. If you go watch some of them.
What's it called?
The Real McCoy.
The Real McCoy.
Especially the ATM. Go watch the ATM one. Yeah. Oh my God, when the ATM's talking back to the man and he's broke. Yo. And I'm talking, this is like 80s, like early 80s, you know.
Where are we finding this stuff? Like on YouTube?
Really? I watched it on YouTube, yeah. Okay. I can't remember how I stumbled on it. I think I was trying to watch Pasa Pasa. I don't remember how I stumbled on
Pasa
it.
videos.
You know Pasa Pasa Play? I tried to find it on YouTube, man.
Quick question also. As somebody, because you came from like Maple originally, right? So
big up Maple, Jane and Mac, our mans.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't know my nigga Stefano, Tony. You know, you're from those ends and you can't say, yo, Pinky, Tutus, you know, like
Ninja.
Right? You can't say those names.
But like, okay, so even with that being said, how was it the transition coming from there and then coming into Toronto and doing that networking over here? Was it like a easy or hard transition?
To be honest, I did most of my networking through being annoying at parties. I was really that guy in the middle of the party, sweating, dancing nonstop, bubbling things recklessly. I mean recklessly. Me and my niggas didn't give a fuck.
Daggering before it was
bad.
cool?
Oh my goodness.
Huh?
Yo, it was bad.
Oh my goodness.
Dog, it was bad. It was bad. And I was always the guy that you knew at the end of the party, walking out sweating, like, avoid Marlon, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I made a lot of connections that way somehow. And I also did a lot of things online, like Facebook. I was making a lot of groups very early. T.Wire, I was trying to be in the forums. Remember the forums back in the day?
Yeah.
Being in the forums and trying to talk shit and like people knowing me from there. And then, yeah, just being a party guy, doing the promoting of parties for a couple years. Promoted parties for like probably 6-7 years. So I made a lot of connections through there as well.
Yeah. How'd you get into that?
Promoting, I was broke. I needed a job where I didn't need an interview and I needed it right away. Yeah, I needed cash. That was important.
Yeah.
So promoter, I didn't need too much documentation. Like I didn't need an interview. I just needed to know somebody.
Yeah.
And then know people and get people to come to the party. And so like I started out at Orange Room at Government. R.I.P. government.
Yeah, shout out
R.I.P.
government.
Jeez, man, yo much Pom Pom got fingered in that place. It's crazy that they let go Orange Room, dog. No Pom Pom catch the middle finger, dog. It's super wild. Super wild. Not for me, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Like, because remember the Cool House, and then they had all the white people parties there where they're all Molly and just touching up themselves to disco music. So, yeah, I worked there, and I used to just like, because they gave us these cards with our name on it, and if people gave in the cards while paying, they'd get in for a cheaper price, and you'd get like $2 a head, right? Dog, I just used to stand outside the line, yo, who needs this? Who needs this? And just try to get rid of all of them, right? Sometimes I'd leave with $80, sometimes I'd leave with $4. Like, it was just one of those grinds, you know? And I went from there to like, my YouTube stuff was happening at the same time. So like my promoting kind of turned into hosting. And then like people started putting me on the mic, and then that turned into MCing, and I just went through the fucking Toronto promoting university.
Gauntlet. It's not like you went through a gauntlet.
Just graduate. You just go from one to the next.
Yeah, man. And then like with everything growing and like all happening at the same time, right? 2017 is what made you decide to start a podcast?
When I do a lineup, is freaking like I got this craziness over here, so I gotta like.
This is not as bad as John
It's not
Legend. John Legend's.
Well, people on Twitter had been telling me to start a podcast for years. And first I didn't know what it was. Like that little purple app on my iPhone, I usually tuck that away into a folder when I first get the phone. I don't want you to see it because I don't know what it is, right? And then I can't remember what interview I wanted to hear, but it was on a podcast. And I had to go to the podcast app to listen to it. And I'm like, oh shit, it's like free? Like all his content is just free.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, let's see who has a podcast. And I started looking up people that I like, and then looking up if they had a podcast. And I found Charlemagne, I found Joe Budden's podcast, and like, and so like I realized that almost every podcast that I listened to that was really popular, they were making noise on Twitter first, and then started a podcast. Like they or on some social media, they would start conversation at least in some way.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I do that all the time, and I love doing it. Like it's probably one of my favorite things to do online is to start a discussion.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yo, maybe this podcast thing could work. And plus, I don't need to be on camera. I could just set up a mic and just record.
Yeah.
It sounds easy enough. Like, let's do it. And so, I started doing the podcast. I started by myself at first, and then I had a co-host, Jason. And then Jason left early last year. Yeah, last year.
Yeah, because we went to your live show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jason was there.
You guys were there.
Yeah. It was a little bit after that,
Yeah. Why did Jason leave?
Just for his own business plans. It didn't fit into his business plans in the future, so it was just best to split at that time.
Yeah.
And then Norm came on. You know, Big Norm.
Big Norm, alumni.
And we've been rocking ever since. We just did a live show on Sunday. It was sold out. It was really dope. A lot of good energy, and I just love doing a podcast, man. Like,
yeah, man.
It's like therapy. Don't you feel like it's therapy every time you come in here?
Listen, dog. I enjoyed not only just doing it, but just the reception that the people give, that like, yo, they're waiting for something like every week consistently.
People are
For me, it's so
appreciative.
different from anything I've ever done reception wise, because the people that listen to the podcast talk to me more human than people who see my YouTube videos or follow me on Twitter or just like Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Those people are always like, hey, what's up, going on? What's going on? Then they just want the picture, right?
Yeah.
Whereas people who listen to my podcast, like we can stand there and just have a conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they could be talking about something on the podcast or something they want me to talk about on the podcast or something. Sometimes it's even just ways to improve it.
Yeah.
Because they want to see the podcast do well.
Yeah.
Which
And
is great to me. I'm like, they're like, yo, love the podcast. Just need to work on that audio a little bit and, you know, get those levels right. And you guys will be perfect, man. I love it. Keep doing the good work. And I'm just like, that's amazing.
Yeah,
like,
they're
you know what I mean?
Feedback is key.
Feedback is key. And like the fact that they can say it with great intention with no ill malice behind it, it's amazing.
Yeah. Well, part of it is also because they're listening and they're continuing to listen. So they're like, yo, next week when I listen, I want to hear this.
Content
but they're
rules.
going to be there next week.
Content rules. It doesn't matter what your production is. As long as the content is good, people will vibe in. But like, obviously, you have to progress at some point. It has to, get more succinct.
Facts. How do you accumulate so many female listeners?
Well, we have when people start listening to the podcast, if they tell us they're female, we just eat their vaginas right away. That's right off
that
top.
Works.
I'm completely joking.
It's a lot of vagina eating.
Yeah,
but,
right? I'd have mono.
What
No, I'm good. No, I don't know. I think it's because like I know I've grown on the podcast because of the podcast and the discussions that we get into. I've grown in a way where it's like I feel like they don't feel like they're gonna listen to the podcast and feel hurt at any time, or feel disrespected at any time, because we don't really do that there. You know what I mean? Like we try to focus on not doing that there. Like we make it an extra attention to not do that. So I think it's the feeling of knowing you're not gonna be disappointed in the people that you're gonna listen to, and at the same time, I feel like I don't know. I've had a large female following on majority of my stuff. I don't know what that's for, but it's just what it is. And I'm okay with that. Less men, the better, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So
maybe some of them will come and watch over here. We gotta, big up the mans them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me ask you a question. So what's the energy like versus the live show versus just you when you guys are recording, you and Norm, just doing your thing? What's the difference? How do you feel?
Well, when we're just recording, I forget that people are gonna listen to it. I get, you get so into it that like you're just in the zone and you're just talking until it's like time to segue to the next point. Then you're like, oh yeah, there's listeners. It's like, okay, so let's keep it ball rolling.
Yeah.
And so like you forget. Sometimes it just feels like you're talking to your bedroom. So it's like when we do the live show, I feed off energy, especially a crowd of people laughing. Listen, I was a kid in class trying to make 7 or 8 people laugh. You give me 50 to 100 people laughing, it's like crack. You understand? It's like drugs. So it's like I'll just keep searching for that laugh the whole night and just keep going for that. And I love doing live shows. Yeah.
Speaking of, you started getting into stand-up.
The comment section, ladies. Is this specifically a ladies' problem? Yo, why do you guys lie to your ugly friends?
And that's like recently you started doing stand-up, right?
Yeah.
So
over
the last couple of years.
Seriously, yeah, definitely.
Right. So what made you start taking that more seriously?
Just like not wanting to stay in a comfort zone, like not wanting to keep doing the same thing and elevate myself. Also, like I know a lot of comedians don't think that online personalities can do what they do. So it's like a pride thing for me. Like I like conquering arenas that like people don't think I'm supposed to be in. You know what I mean? Like I think it comes from like playing ball when I was younger. Like that's how my mentality always was. I was a skinny youth. Like my head was too big. Like you would never think that I could play ball, but when I get on the court, like I do my thing, right? Yo, Isaiah Thomas, you laughing back here?
Yeah.
Yo, IT, I heard a chuckle. I will dunk on your life,
Gucci ain't escaping that one.
Right, we call Blueface. This guy wants me to call Blueface.
Right? You're part of OVO Bounce, right?
Just as like an MC. I haven't done OVO Bounce thing. We played on the court, like we played the day of, but that was for Hoop Club. I was part of Hoop Club.
Okay.
But yeah, so like I've always gotten that mentality. Most things that
this
are
man's been
part of
on
my
with
personality.
He's been on the hoop with Akil. So these guys talk about basketball and they get heated on that show.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
You know basketball conversations. Like, yo, are you dumb, fam?
Trust me.
They don't get that bad on TV, but
Marlon's
like,
all over the place.
Get close.
Man.
Yeah.
Get close.
But yeah, sorry.
But yeah, I think most of my shit that I do, it just transferred from what I did playing basketball. Like that was my life before anything. And I was like one of those kids thought I was going to the NBA and all that shit. But like when I got when I was like 19, I realized like I'm like it's done.
Yeah.
I was one of those mans holding on to it like 24, 25, still trying to take.
Still rocking the fucking full tracksuit all the time.
Flip
Hey,
flops.
big ups to those guys.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Persistence
it.
is key. Some mans, hey, look, who was that? Brad Miller got into the NBA when he was like 31. So you never know.
Yeah.
But I knew that wasn't for me. I wasn't willing to do those things and put in that work and not like see anything come from it potentially. But with acting, I was like, I'll throw myself off the cliff for that. Like I'll try a thing for that. Like I'll sacrifice for that. So that's how I know what I will love is what I'm like. Okay, I'll just sacrifice anxiety, stress. Because that's what I feel when I do stand-up. It's the worst day of my life every time.
So, like, what's the first stand-up experience like when you got up and you're like, fuck,
I forgot everything.
Really?
I forgot all of my jokes, even though I was sitting there reading it over and over and over again. This is like 2011 at Fox and the Fiddle.
One of the many.
It's like the corner of a Fox and the Fiddle.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to do 3 minutes, right? Very short set. It was like an amateur night. And I told my boy, yo, I'm going to do it. He drove me there, went, and I'm there I'm dying.
Sweating.
I'm dying. And they call my name up. I don't remember walking up. I just remember standing there, forgetting everything. And I just talked about Precious taking a shit for like 3 minutes.
Oh, man.
I was like, how do you think, because that's when Precious had just come out. So I was like, how do you think Precious takes a shit? Like, let's think about it here. Look at her ass. Like, how do you think... You think it just comes out all in one, smears across the sides? It was really bad. It was really problematic.
But you probably got some laughs, though.
Oh, yeah. Because it was like a hot movie. Like, it would come out like, what, a week before that? It was the crux of every joke on SNL, Mad TV, you name it. It was, the jokes were out there.
So
and people didn't care then.
Yeah.
That's a big major point. People don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it wasn't like,
jokes
oh
and
my
all that
God.
shit. Everybody's making fat jokes.
Yeah. So you didn't bomb.
Low.
You were cool with that.
Yeah.
Have you ever had the bomb? You ever get the boo?
Last year, at the Underground, I bombed for the first, like, I'd say 3 minutes. And I realized it happened. And I'm just like, I just said it out loud. I'm like, so this is what bombing feels like. This is nice. People started chuckling, right? And then from that, that's all I needed. I got that little
spark.
chuckle, and I'm like, let's go. And like, I just went to my next shit, and I killed it for the rest of it. But those first 3 minutes, nigga, whoo!
So how long was the total set?
12 minutes, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, those first 3 minutes, though, my God. Ugh.
When you're like, oh my God.
So
Bro, you don't understand. Like, no one understands that feeling.
Yeah.
Like, there was somebody that said the comedian is the only person in the room standing in the wrong direction. And, like, you don't realize that until it's quiet. Like, you don't realize that until no one's laughing. And everyone's looking up at you like, nigga, you better, hey, I paid for this.
Yeah.
Like, you
better show and prove.
And the other thing is, too, I feel an extra amount of pressure because I'm the internet guy. And there are other stand-up comedians there. So I want to impress my peers so bad. At the end of the day, those compliments would mean more to me than just the person listening.
Yeah.
Because those guys, like, I see them, how they work on their craft, and they're sick at it. So I'm like, yo, if I can get those guys impressed, then I'm good. So, like, I add more pressure onto myself. And, yeah, it turned out good. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah, man. With the verified check and stuff like that, all right? Because you got the little blue check mark.
Oh, Friday's working hard for this verification check, eh?
Instagram.
Yo, this is one of his goals for 2019 to get verified on Instagram.
So when you first got the blue check mark, right? Do people start treating you different?
Yes.
How so? Explain.
People
Friday
start
wants to
calling me
know.
the blue check guy.
Really, eh?
Yeah. Mr. Verified.
Backhandeds.
Oh, yeah. A lot of backhanded compliments. I love those, though.
But that's how it moved.
I love those because you hate me, but you're watching. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
Look at blue checkmark guy coming up the
There's
road,
There's
eh?
rarely more things that I love than people that hate me that watch me.
Yeah,
I think that's like, oh, it warms my heart.
What did the DMs start looking like?
My DMs? They look, well.
You're jealous, bro. You're jealous, bro. Come on.
Actually, last year, like, third day of the year. I'll never forget this because I just retweeted it at the end of at the end of this year that just passed. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna start out January with the same fire ever again. January 3rd last year, you know Aaliyah Hadid, porn star.
I heard the name.
She's like apparently a huge porn star. I didn't know this until after, because somebody was telling me and showed me a video. And I tweeted her name with like the greater than sign. I was like, oh shit, like she's sick. Like,
okay.
And I guess she searches her own name, found me, and tweeted
blue check mark.
The verification.
And she tweeted, Sony, you gonna let me suck your dick? And I'm just like,
blue check.
I was like, that's really forward or some shit like that. And we were just going back and forth with witty little comments. And like she started just posting, do you want me to suck your dick like this? And put a video of her sucking some dude's dick, and he was like convulsing.
Wow.
Like the nigga was like losing his limbs. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting business card. I like that. And then she hit me up in the DMs, and we were talking, and yeah, you know, wop wop ba doo bop, wop bop boom.
Hey, I'm digging it. So I was gonna ask, what's the craziest DM you got? But that pretty much answers that question.
No,
that doesn't. Oh,
that's light. That's timid.
Okay, so then
DM.
What's the craziest DM you got, and or snap?
Crazy in which way? You want which
like
crazy you
goddamn
want?
Girl, have some self fucking respect.
Oh, I've gotten a number of just straight vagina like no
vagina
high,
cracks are just
like no
sending you.
high, like no high.
Wow.
So I don't even know if it's theirs. I feel like it's a Google image thing.
Or non-shaved, sir. That's what you're getting.
I feel like it's
crazy.
a Google image thing though.
So boom, here, hold that.
Yeah, they're not sending you the
You're
real
not
thing.
saying hi? Come on, that's not your pussy.
Just hold that.
You live in Australia?
Sorry.
Hold that.
Let me
You got a
process this for a
message
second.
from.
I'm never gonna see it down under.
You're not getting, hey, what's up? I love your shit. Da 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 da. Boom, here's a pussy pic. You're just getting, here's a pussy pic, and then followed with text.
pussy pic.
And then like maybe eyeball emojis, because sometimes I'll see it, and then I'll go and
man.
exit it,
That's
and I won't
crazy.
respond.
So
I love leaving nudes
great.
on extra read. You ever leave nudes on extra read? Like they know you read it, they know you saw it, they know they're naked. And you've said nothing. It's beautiful. It's like holding someone's life in your hand.
The evil man right
Listen,
here.
I'm like, what's?
Evil.
He's not gonna say anything about my
not
tits.
gonna respond.
He's not gonna tell me does he like them? He doesn't like them? Are they two
man.
thumbs down?
Yeah, like what's wrong with my nipples? Like
What?
because you've done nothing to instill doubt, and yet,
Yeah.
like, what happened? What if I got a call? What if the titties? I opened the message. As soon as I opened the message, I barely saw the titties. I got a call. It looks like Reed. It could be anything. What if I had a stroke? What if I saw your titties and my heart attacked me?
This is true. That would be
But
technically a
Jared
match.
Sexual is probably
man.
tweeting me or texting me.
He's
long
gonna love
paragraphs.
this.
Oh, so you're just gonna look at my news? You know what? Delete my fucking number. Like,
Hey, listen.
meanwhile, I'm having a seizure.
Laid up in the hospital.
Listen, man.
Listen, the story. More of the story is black men don't cheat. And yeah.
I was gonna.
No, that's it.
That's all you got.
Period.
That's all you
Now
got?
the kids are saying period.
That's all you got?
Okay, so with everything that you got going on, what do you got coming up next? Because you, like, bro, like you're in everything. You're doing movies, you're on fucking commercials, sports shows. You're on Instagram, popping up on my timeline, fucking doing funny ass skits and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's next, dog?
Well, all of that is going to continue. All of what you just said, and more stand up. I'm going to do a lot more stand up this year. Because I want to just get down my first 20 minutes. Like, I really want to hone that and have that by, like, the end of the year, hopefully. More live shows. I only did one live show last year for the podcast. I'm going to do more than that this year for sure. Definitely going to do one in New York. So, New York, look out for that.
Okay.
Other than that, yeah, man, just growing the podcast. Like, we got some surprises in store in the next coming weeks.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope.
Just elevating everything that's already happening.
Dope. Well, yo, man,
I might also dabble in porn, so we're just checking on that.
Send me the link on that.
I don't know if you want to see micro penis. I just
No, not the link for your porn.
Oh,
I'm saying send me the link on how I can get into porn.
He wants to be a porn star.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
He
saying?
needs the in.
Low key.
He needs the in?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he needs the in.
He's gonna
Pause.
have a porn movie one Friday night. Next Friday.
Hook me up with the right
The
agent.
Friday after next.
Coming Friday.
Coming Friday. Coming this Friday. This Friday coming.
We're brainstorming right here. You know what I'm saying?
This is gold, right?
Brainstorming is another fucking title right there.
Oh man, don't
But
kill me right
I want to
now.
hold you for a moment.
Perks on Friday. No. You got double team tickets.
No.
Hook me up with an agent. We might see it happen.
No. I'm a married man, sir. I'm a married man, sir. I'm a married man.
I'll handle.
Friday
the load,
can
you
handle
know what
all
I'm saying?
queries. Huh?
Business. The wifey is a job. Don't you want nice things?
It's just
I
acting.
yelled that one time.
It's just
Don't
acting.
you want nice things?
Oh man, if it was that simple.
Oh man.
What's her background?
I'm Canadian Jamaican.
No, what's her background?
Oh, she's Filipino Guyanese.
Oh yeah, no, it's a rap.
Yeah.
It's a rap.
Message.
Yeah, you get cussed out.
But I want to hold you for a moment. We got something called Smoke and Mirrors.